not too disappointed to just see me, Michael Binion, the chair. Adam will be here shortly, so don't worry too much. I am the chair of Canada Strong and Free Network, which I'm very proud of, and what a crowd, right? It's amazing to see you all here. I'm also a sponsor, and so I want you to know that I say to you with great sincerity and honesty how much I think it's important to thank sponsors. And And because I am one, but I'm hoping you're going to see over the next few days in the speakers, in the venue, in the food, in the audio visual, and the production qualities, that this is a conference that you can't possibly have open to so many people in the movement at the price, the subscription price that we charge without the help of our sponsors. And so I want to really ask all of you to please go to their booths and recognize who they are, and if you get a chance to potentially form a relationship or be able to support them in some way, take that chance if you see it. And if you can't, then at least please be appreciative of everything they do to make this happen, especially me. Thank you. We will be hearing in a few minutes from Intuit, who is our platinum sponsor once again this year. They've been just absolutely steadfast and incredible. I was just talking to them backstage, and we'll hear from them in a couple of minutes. So in 2005, Preston Manning had a vision, and his vision was to create a national organization where we could network conservatives across the country, that we could provide training and capacity, opportunities for training and capacity building, and also opportunities at conferences like this to exchange ideas on policy ideas for conservatives, all to develop the conservative movement across the country. And Preston Manning and Cliff Friars, they did do that by starting the Manning Center, neutral ground for big C conservatives and small c conservatives to meet. And today, we're doing that. We're doing that right now. We're here in record numbers. I'm really proud to announce that we've got a sellout, that we've got over 1,000 people that will be here over the next 3 days. So thank you for that. I wanted to really acknowledge that Preston's vision, as executed through Cliff and himself back from 2005, that just how far we've come with that. Now, the media has taken an interest in us once again, and so I want you all to govern yourselves accordingly. Please be measured and balanced if you're talking to them. The media is here because we aren't hiding that conservatives have expert, practical alternatives for policy on things like affordability, the environment, foreign affairs, etc. And you'll be hearing about that over the next few days if you don't spend too much time in the lounge. I hope you won't. And I want you to take those discussions home with you. Take them home to your family and friends and talk to them about these conservative alternatives. And hopefully they'll also get reported by the media, because I'm tired of hearing we don't have alternatives. Thank you. Now I will tell you, we did get an initial no from the Globe and Mail. They said, we thought nobody went to conservative rallies and conferences anymore. They're too crowded these days. So now we're a sellout, but I do want to mention that there are seats available at the Broadbent Institute Forward Progress conference going on right now. It turns out they have a different approach to ticket sales there. They sell tickets, groups of 5 for $2,000. And I know there's fiscal conservatives in the room, and so you've probably quickly calculated that's $400 each. But it doesn't really quite work that way over at the Broadbent Institute. They actually, it works that the one person pays $2,400, and the other 4 people get a $100 rebate. Now, how it works when the early bird ends is, we increase the price. Over at Broadbent, they increase the rebates by 23%. And apparently this free market system for tickets that they have over there is how they've been designing some of their policy. Now, I know you're excited to hear from our speakers, and so I'm going to get off the stage quickly, but I just want to acknowledge our directors, Cliff Friars, Joe Oliver, John Weisenberger, Matt Spoke, Ray Novak. Special shout out to Kate Harrison, who's the chair of our events committee and responsible for this event, and her team, Zoe and Ariella. I want a special mention as well for Ves Sobet and Jocelyn help me out here. Bamford, thank you, that from the Concerned Manufacturers and Businesses of Ontario, and also Paige McPherson, who are both moving on to, who's at the Fraser Institute, who are moving on to new things. And we're also pleased to welcome Ron Robotham as our new director, who is taking on a role to make sure that we're well-sponsored at our Red Deer Conference, which will be in October, and I hope we'll see a lot of you there. Okay, so maybe I just a quick thank you for all the hard work of our board, and especially Kate's team. Okay, so now I'm going to bring up Adam Bullock, that you were disappointed didn't come up with me at the beginning. Adam is our new CEO. I think it's important that he is not from the West, which is where we started. He's from here. He's from Ottawa.
Calgary.
You're ruining my line there. But I think it's a sign that we've become more national. I will also say that a lot of what you're seeing is the work that Adam's been doing to take us to the new level, building really on the work of our own Jamil Javani. Congratulations to him for winning his nomination. And with that, I'll ask Adam to come up and get our program going. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Michael. I was born in Calgary, but I grew up in Niagara, so there we go. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here with us tonight. I know many of you traveled a long way across this country to be here at the annual networking conference, and from what I can tell, nobody flew Boeing, so everybody seems to have arrived fairly safe and sound, so that's good. I'd like to give thanks to some folks in particular tonight. Michael mentioned a few of them, but I want to thank Ariella Kimmel for her hard work in putting together the programming, the speakers, which is not a lot of hard work. And Michael mentioned Kate Harrison, one of my bosses on the board as well, who did a huge lift in working with us, and she's organized previous conferences herself. And I also want to thank all of the volunteers who are out working around. Some of them are folks from our Conservative Values Tomorrow program, the young folks, so thank you guys. And I want to recognize one very, very special individual, and that's Zoe Lynn Ashton. Many of you know Zoe from all of the work she's done over the years here. And as I said, everyone knows who she is, and she is so valuable and so important, so crucial to this event. And she works so hard, and I've never seen a volunteer more dedicated to putting on a good conference for everybody who's there. Not just, fancy speakers and VIPs, though we love them, but everybody else here. And she's so dedicated to the movement. And I'm terrible. I get into trouble all the time. I make mistakes. I'm awful at details. And Zoe cleans up after me. God bless her. It's not easy. So Zoe, on behalf of the board and everybody in the room, thank you so much, Zoe. So this is going to be a little bit of a different conference than previous years, and some of you are seeing that maybe in the programming. You've seen we're shifting focus a little bit to some issues that perhaps we haven't paid as much attention to in previous years, especially on foreign affairs and Canada's place in the world. But we also aren't going to forget important domestic issues driving the movement today, and I think a lot of the momentum in the movement is because of those domestic issues, to be sure. When I was young, I never once considered that something like buying a home would be a problem for a young person in Canada. I never thought I'd be embarrassed on the world stage as we have been, with the lack of leadership and no moral clarity with the decisions this government has made. It's affected not just how Canadians are seen by our enemies, but how our allies see us too. This lot in Ottawa have taken our prosperity and our reputation and squandered it. Carbon taxes on costumes and a whole lot of confusion. Today, there's a lot of debate in this movement about what we as Conservatives need to do, about what the Conservative answer is to today's problems. There's skepticism of our international commitments, concerns about immigration, drugs and crime, manufacturing jobs, industrial policy, and yes, even family policy, free speech, and the internet, TikTok. Conservatism may be changing, and certainly on the emphasis and definitely the style, but our first principles remained unchanged as Conservatives. They're what bind us together as a movement. They're core to us at Canada Strong and Free, and they range from everything from moral clarity in our foreign affairs, limited government at home, personal freedom, and the pursuit of free enterprise. I do know with your continued support, we can continue to shepherd these debates, host these discussions, and remain a united and committed conservative movement that not only influences our government and our politics, which is important, but our schools, our communities, our boardrooms, our churches, our places of worship, our whole culture. I'd like to share with you just one little quick story about how this conference came together. When I first spoke to one of our key sponsors last fall, I walked him through our agenda for the conference as it stood and some of the potential speakers we were going to approach. And it was a video call, and he looked at me and he started waving his hands. Adam, stop, just stop. He said, this is great, but you're thinking about this all the wrong way. Think about the left. Think about the progressives and their fancy conferences in Davos, the World Economic Forum, Canada 2020 here in Ottawa. They always have socialist presidents, Ivy League academics, and often a Clinton, sometimes two Clintons. This is how you have to think about the networking conference this year. This is where you should be aiming. So I took his advice. I look at this full room, and we can see and feel the momentum the movement has across the country. And I had faith that if we took a big swing with this conference agenda this year, the movement would respond, and you all have. So I thank you for that. My thanks to the Board of Directors for CSFN, Michael, and everyone there, and all of you. Thanking the Board of Directors for allowing me to take this big swing and supporting me with this. This is a lot more than we typically do, and I think it's going to work out okay. And my thanks to all of you as well for supporting us and buying a ticket, traveling here. I know it's Ottawa. I live here. I've lived here for many years, but I get why people don't want to come here. Might have to do with the fellow that lives down the street. I don't know. And finally, my thanks to all our sponsors and exhibitors. Your financial support is critical to keeping this conference strong and viable. So ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to thank and also welcome to the stage to introduce our panel and our big discussion tonight, one of our longest and most committed sponsors, this year's platinum presenting sponsor for the 2024 Canada Strong and Free Networking Conference, Intuit Corporation's Director of Public Policy and Corporate Affairs for Americas, my friend, Mr. Rodney McDonald.